Hello and welcome to Truth Tuesday. I'm Pastor Ken Martin, and I'm excited to have you join me today because we've been talking about being transformed by the renewing of our mind on Sundays. And here is a level of transformation that I had not considered until recently. We have all seen or heard of those parents, been annoyed by those parents who can't do this or they can't do that because, or they didn't fulfill their responsibility because the baby. I didn't do so and so because the baby was up all night, had me up all night. I couldn't come to church because the baby, I didn't want to get the baby out in the weather. It was always the baby, the baby, the baby. Well, those people have had their lives suddenly hidden in the baby. And the scriptures in Colossians give us an indication of how we're supposed to have our lives hidden in Christ. In Colossians 3:1, it says, therefore, if you have been raised with Christ, which we have been, it says, keep seeking the things that are above, where Christ is seated at the right hand of God. That means set your heart on things that are where he is, and set on your heart on things that identify with him and what he wants. So that's what you set your heart on. You set your heart to become a doctor. You set your heart to become a teacher. You set your heart to become a parent. You set your heart to become a worker. You set your heart to become an athlete, whatever it is. You set your heart on things. And he's saying, set your heart on things that are above with Christ because we've been raised with him. Verse 2, Colossians 3rd chapter, he says, set your mind on things that are above, not on things that are on earth. Meaning set your plan, start planning according to where your heart is. If your heart is where he is, if your aspirations, your goals are where he is, then set plans according to where he is, not based on things in the earth. Verse 3, and this is the kicker. He says, because you have died, so we're dead in Christ. He says, and your life is hidden with Christ in God. So our lives are hidden with Christ. Our lives are hidden with Christ in God. So what would happen if, as you're working on that spreadsheet, or you're trying to kick out that report or make those extra phone calls, return calls, whatever it is, what if you made those calls because your life is hidden in Christ? Not just in consideration of the fact that Christ exists or you have a relationship with him. See what I'm saying? There are some things we do and we consider him. Other things we do because of him. And if your life is hidden in Christ and the life you have now is no longer your own, then the things you do, your aspirations, your plans, all of those things should be done because of him, because it's his life. Imagine how different it would be. Someone calls you up, ring, ring, ring. Hey, I need to get approval on so and so and so and so. And if you're answering that call and operating in that capacity for him, your answer might sometimes be different than the answer you give people. Sometimes we respond to people and we're irritated with people and angry with people because they didn't do what they were supposed to do, or they didn't live up to your expectations. But if we're responding to those people because of him, because he has set us where we are for that moment when they didn't follow the procedures and when they did fail, our answers are going to be different. And it doesn't mean that he's going to say, oh, cave in and don't care about rules and don't care about laws and don't care about regulations. That's not what I'm saying at all. But the spirit behind what we do changes when what we do is because of him and not just in consideration of him. Imagine what it would be like if you're doing that report and you're going to put in that extra work or the extra considerations or extra prayer as you're doing it and after you finish it because of him, as opposed to, Lord, just please help me to get through this so I can go. That's a different attitude. Imagine if you planned your trips, you planned recreation because of him, not just in consideration of him. I mean, he wants you to have rest. He wants you to have enjoyment. There are things that he wants for you. And so what if you plan those things because of him and not just in consideration of him? If our lives are hidden in Christ, then we not only change our aspirations and we not only change our plans, but we're transformed because what we do is for Him and because of Him and not for ourselves. We have indeed been raised with Christ. And because we have been raised with Christ, our lives are hidden with Christ in God. That's just the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. A little bit of food for thought. So if you are blessed by this, please hit the thumbs up, share, like, whatever you have, and tell others to join us here as well. God continues to bless us through this, and I am so thankful that you join me here on Tuesdays. May God be with you. May He bless you. That's my prayer.